Hey, what's up? It's been a while since we were last together. Firstly, I just want to apologise for the big gap between episodes recently. I've been a bit busy with college work and stuff. And then I also just want to say thank you for the massive support on my first video. That was crazy. I wasn't expecting that much. I was expecting 10 views at most. And now we're nearing 150. So, thanks for that. So, shall we start the season 29 of What If Doctor Who Was Never Cancelled? Alright then, let's begin. Following the success of the last two seasons of Doctor Who, the show had become more of a phenomenon again. Producer Ian Fraser decided to double down on targeting teenagers and young adults with even darker themes. This would make the 8th Doctor darker than his predecessor. Season 29 was Richard Griffiths' first season as the Doctor, and in his second story a new companion would be introduced. Bernice Summerfield was the new companion introduced in the second serial. Her character would start off as a typical companion, but would be developed over time on the show to be more of a hero and even a bit like the Doctor. She was portrayed by Lisa Bowerman. Kate would leave the Doctor in the final serial of the show. The final serial would be the final part of the Cartmel master plan, and so Andrew Cartmel would leave the show once he had finished what he had set out to do with the show. Season 29 would debut a new title sequence and a new theme tune to start the new Doctor's era. The first serial was called Born Again, written by Ben Aronovich, airing from the 8th of August to the 10th of September 1992. So, let's begin. The serial was your regular post-regeneration serial. This meant that the Doctor was out of action for the first two parts. However, in the first part, there would be a scene with the Doctor and Kate. The Doctor would assure Kate that he is in fact the Doctor, and once the TARDIS lands, the doors would open, and he would step out and find out that he had landed in a unit base. We would be greeted by Brigadier Winifred Banbera, who would help viewers accept that the Doctor was in fact the Doctor. The rest of the story would be your typical invasion story, with the villains of the story being the Autons and the Nesting Consciousness. By the fourth part, the Doctor would be fully recovered from his regeneration and would reassure Kate for the last time before they both set off for an adventure, with the Brigadier giving the Doctor a device so UNIT could call him if they ever needed him. The serial would be a decent serial, and fans would take to the 8th Doctor quite quickly, but many fans would also say that the Doctor was out of action for too long and needed more screen time in his first story. Many would also say that this was Ben Aronovich's second best Doctor Who story. The second serial was called Love and War, written by Paul Cornell, and aired from the 12th of September to the 3rd of October 1992. It would feature the new companion, played by Lisa Bowerman. The serial would be set far in the future and would feature an archaeologist called Bernice Summerfield, who would meet the Doctor and Kate on a planet called Haven, where an ancient race called the Whovich would awaken and would... After being discovered by an archaeologist, it would be revealed that the Time Lords had done deals with the species in the past, and even ended up in battle with them. But the Time Lords won. However, on Haven, the Whovich had started to ready for another attack on the Time Lords, and despite the Doctor's current distaste for his civilization, decided to stop them, and manipulated a traveller called Jan into wiping out the Whovich, and stop them from attacking Gallifrey. This would result in Jan's death. But with the day saved in the Doctor's eyes, he would set off for another adventure. Kate felt a bit uneasy about the whole situation, claiming that she thought that what the Doctor did was a bit too far. However, she would overcome it, as she would claim that it had something to do with his regeneration. Bernice was asked to come aboard by the Doctor, and she accepted. When Bernice entered the TARDIS, she was amazed at the sight, but then jokingly said it was a bit small. The TARDIS would take off and the serial ended. The serial was seen as one of the better of the seasons, as it's still celebrated today, as Bernice Summerfield would be seen as an iconic Doctor Who companion. The third serial was called War of the Daleks, written by John Peel, and aired from the 10th of October to the 31st of October. The serial was set on Skaro and would be the final part of the Dalek Civil War story arc that had been going on over the last few years. Davros would make his return, this time as a brain in a jar. The Doctor would comment on this and would call back to when he and Davros were talking about a microscopic speck inside some glass, and how if it was to break, how life would die. However, the Doctor wouldn't destroy Davros himself. Instead, he would manipulate the situation to have almost all Daleks wipe themselves out. Kate and Bernice would spend the serial with the Doctor, but also without him, as they would hold their own against the Daleks, and they managed to destroy a few themselves. However, Kate would sustain an injury in the third part, and would be absent until the fourth part of the story. Bernice would also learn about the Doctor's past, and how the TARDIS is alive. Eventually, in the fourth part, the Daleks would be gone, and Davros would be left powerless as the Doctor uses a Dalek gun to destroy the jar Davros' brain was in. The Doctor would then leave his calling card on the brain, and leave the TARDIS. Shaken by all of the death and destruction, Kate would ask the Doctor to take them somewhere peaceful. The Doctor would oblige and explain that they all needed a holiday. The serial was met with mixed reviews by critics, and it wasn't well liked by the fanbase at the time, some even going as far to say it was the worst Dalek story made up to that point. The final serial of the season was called Lung Barrow, written by Mark Platt, and aired from the 7th of November to the 12th of December 1992, and it was 6 parts long. The TARDIS would land on Gallifrey in the House of Lung Barrow. The Doctor would step out from the TARDIS and immediately feel some kind of nostalgia for the place that he was in. The serial would reveal that Time Lords are in fact infertile and need genetic looms in order to reproduce. It would be revealed to the Doctor that he was in the House of Lung Barrow. The Doctor would recognise the name and try and leave instantly, but as he does, a murder would take place in the house. It would also be revealed to the audience, and Kate and Bernice, that the residents of the House of Lung Barrow were in fact family members of the Doctor. The story would reveal and even tell us that the Doctor is in some way connected to a founding member of Gallifrey, but this is left to speculation on how exactly they are connected. The murder is solved, and it is revealed that the killer is one of the Doctor's cousins, and then the house collapses. The Doctor and Kate and Bernice leave in the TARDIS, and the TARDIS is filled with tension as Kate demands that the Doctor explains his past to her, saying that she can't live with somebody that she barely even knows. The Doctor refuses, and Kate demands that the Doctor takes her home, to which the Doctor obliges, and Kate storms out of the TARDIS without even saying goodbye. The TARDIS would set off, and the Doctor would leave the console room. Bernice would follow him, and the episode would end on the shot of the TARDIS flying through space. And that was season 29. It was a very mixed season. It had some really good highs, but some really lows as well. It still has fans, though. Lung Barrow would be seen as one of the best 8th Doctor serials and one of the better 8-parters ever. The season would be released on VHS alongside some novelisations of the story in March 1993. The BBC would also begin talks with several game companies about how to make a Doctor Who video game for the Sega Mega Drive or the Super Nintendo, in time for the 30th anniversary the following year. With the end of the Cartmel master plan, Andrew Cartmel left the show to work on Casualty, as he had almost done in 1989. He recommended his successor as Ben Aronovich, who was later given the job. So that was the 29th season of Doctor Who, had it not been cancelled. And that's all from me now. So if you liked the video, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye now.